temperature check. Icy cold, temperature check. Searing hot, temperature check. Listen to the temperature check. Icy cold, temperature check. Searing hot, temperature check. Listen to the
temperature check with Noah and Josh.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome to the very first episode of Temperature Check. I'm Josh Telson.
And I'm Noah Telson.
Thanks so much for joining us on this somewhat experimental first episode, Noah. I guess we could say that, right?
Experimental is a positive way of saying things, and I like that, Josh.
That's right. We decided earlier this week, it is now Thursday evening that we're recording this intro. We decided 3 days ago that we were going to do a podcast because we're all in lockdown. What else are we going to do?
Yeah, and we've got a Friday deadline that we need to get this out. So here it is. This is a podcast we put together in 2 days. Tech issues, etc.
Just all sorts of stuff.
All of that.
Yeah. It's as you will soon hear. I mean, I guess we should let people know like what we're doing. Like, why are we doing? Why are two white dudes doing another podcast? And we had a podcast for a very long time, but it's been 5 years.
Even before the lockdown,
right? We had a podcast that we decided was too much work, and so we stopped doing it. But since that podcast is over, our last podcast, Piffle, is no longer with us. Rest in peace. We're running. You're owning. I'm helping run a theater now here in Berlin.
That's right. Big news. If people have not been up to date on that, I don't know where you've been, but that's what we've been doing. Comedy Cafe Berlin is the comedy club that we run and program and run the school out of. That is now currently completely dark right now because of global lockdown.
Right.
So here we are. We're in the midst of a pandemic, and this is our opportunity to basically give the weekly read on the pulse of our community and even beyond. Hopefully bringing some people some laughter and some interesting tidbits and slices of life.
Right. And I mean, for us also, one of the most amazing things about having the theater is this community that's developed around it. And we're all connecting with each other over Zoom and Google Hangouts. And all these people have these amazing ideas. And we thought this would be a great way to kind of showcase all the talent that's out there in the community. So we're going to have different guests on every week to help us with sketches and improv. And we'll have interview guests on as well. And we'll have trivia games. I think you have some trivia for today, Noah.
I certainly do. I've got some very current trivia news items.
I can't wait.
We've got... What's that?
I said I can't wait.
Oh, right. We are actually doing this right through Zoom, and I just got a little glitch. There you go.
They're starting already. This is, I feel like we did a podcast for 3.5 years. I don't think we ever did anything. Maybe we did one remotely when you were traveling, but this is now like the new normal for us. In fact, you were in New York for 3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you came back after my family and I went into quarantine. So
I have not seen you
in person.
Except for one brief moment.
Through the crack in the door when you dropped us some groceries.
It's very strange. In fact, most of the community, so just to clarify, I left Berlin like mid-February before the shit hit the fan, and I got back early March, and I still, even though I've been back now 2 weeks, I have still not seen any of my friends or any of the people in the community face to face. Very few people, and it'll be so long. It'll be the longest time that I have not seen my friends.
Yeah, it's super weird. And I mean, I have 2 kids. For those of you, maybe people who listen to our last podcast are now tuning into this one, and they're like, "What?" Yes, I have 2 children now, and
things have changed.
Things have changed. And my oldest, like all of a sudden, we went into quarantine. She had to stop going to school. The day before, like the afternoon before we went into quarantine, she lost her front tooth. Like she had this loose tooth, and she lost it at school, and then she lost it at school. Like it was gone. I picked her up, and she was like, "I don't know where it is. Is the tooth fairy still going to give me something?" I was like, "Yeah, the tooth fairy will go to your school." But it's apparently it's in her classroom somewhere. And I mean, who knows what's happened to it. It's almost certainly gone. But I was just thinking about this the other day. Like, she's off until at least Easter, but it's probably going to be longer than that at this point, like realistically speaking. And even if it is just after Easter, I mean, her adult tooth, her new tooth is like starting to come in already. So there's like a decent chance that she's going to go back to school with like a new tooth already there, and then potentially like find her old tooth. It's just like such a weird thing. She won't have seen her friends. They'll have seen her lose her tooth rather, and then she comes back and she's got the tooth back in her face again. Anyway.
That's how time works.
I know. It's just I'm trying to stay positive. That's like the fun, nice story I have about being in quarantine.
Yeah, there you go. This is Josh. This is important at this time. You got to stay positive. This is the time to do it.
That's right.
In the spirit of that, why don't we check in with a quick temperature check?
We got to do it.
What kind of fever are you running, if at all?
You know what? I think I've mentioned this to you before, but my temperature is like consistently low. Let's see what it says.
Oh, you can just do it that quickly.
Oh, it's an instant read. Okay, I'm at 36.5 now. So,
and I mean, I'm reading now 36.2. I had to do my temperature before we started because mine takes forever. My thermometer.
We have two children, so it's very important.
You got to do that.
It takes us a little time as bubbles.
Yeah. So I heard, I don't know if this is at all substantiated or true, that the average body temperature of the human race is actually increasing over time. So who knows?
Not for me. I'm bringing that average down.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think? Should we get this show started?
Let's get it started, Josh.
All right.
Joining us is Caroline Clifford and Antonia Bär.
Hello.
Two comedians in the comedian community. The CCB community as well. The Berlin comedy community.
So many communities.
Hi to the both of you.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
This is temperature check, and it is standard here. This is the first episode, obviously, but we're going to make it standard. What's your temperature?
The regular one, I hope, the healthy one.
The healthy one.
Yeah. 37 and a half. What is it? No, that's already slightly raised temperature. Oh,
yeah,
dear. Then
that's already fever. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
don't spread
fever.
that rumor.
37 is fine. 37 and a half.
No, I looked it up. I already forgot exactly what is which, but I did have some cold symptoms 2 weeks ago. Not to worry anyone. And then when I did call my doctor, I was like, "Oh, what do I do?" And so I looked up what my temperature meant, and I had slightly raised temperature because it was like 37.7 or something.
That's a bit warm, yeah.
Yeah, so there's in Germany there's erhöhte Temperatur, which is I think 37.5 to 37.9, and then a fever. Then after it
is 38, right?
Yeah.
Well, we've got this little thermometer because we have kids that like not only does it tell you temperature, but it lights up color coded whether you're like a little bit warm or if you've got a fever,
or if you're pregnant.
Right, or or ovulating. Yeah,
I think the best thing to do in this current situation is to permanently have a thermometer in your anus, and then it could just like bleep when you get too hot. Just so you know, just it's quite constantly checking your temperature.
Yeah,
just a little ARFID chip up your butt.
Yeah. So we're feeling normal now then.
I think so. Yeah.
In Fahrenheit, it's 98 degrees.
See, that is a little bit easier to I remember that from the old days. That like 100, that's easy to remember that 100 is like fever time.
You're fevering with 100. 98 degrees, as in Nick Lachey temperature. As in,
okay, so I have recently finished Love Is Blind on Netflix, as one does in these times.
Yeah, me too.
And I haven't looked it up because it hasn't gotten that far yet, but I don't know who Nick Lachey is, so it bothered me to no end every time he went. And I'm Nick Lachey, obviously. And I was like, it's not obvious to me. How would it be obvious?
I thought you were saying negligee, actually. I genuinely did. And I thought you were saying, like, that's the temperature of negligee. And I just went with it. I just didn't want to look stupid.
Thank you.
Yeah, if that's your temperature, then you should only be wearing like a very light negligee.
You would strip down.
Let's go around. And let's tell our temperature by item of clothing.
Sexy.
I am wool socks.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I'm wearing wool socks, but just a t-shirt. So it's just like a mixture.
I'm like a bikini because my temperature is always cold. I don't know what it is. Like this thermometer that we have that lights up green, orange, and red, it doesn't light up any color for me because it's always below like normal temperature.
No.
This morning I was 35.6.
What?
That's not right.
You're
That's
a
not
zombie.
right. Are you a lizard? Yeah.
I guess so. I don't know.
The apocalypse is happening right now. Josh got the wrong apocalypse memo. He's turning into a zombie. Everyone else is getting fever.
Is there going to be a new ice age?
In Josh's body, apparently.
Yeah.
It's just very localized, yeah.
I'm the new ice age.
Any dinosaurs around Josh are a goner. I'm like fleece pajamas that you can take off very quickly because like I can swing from hot to cold quite easily. I'm kind of never quite at the right temperature. At the moment I am genuinely wearing fleece pajamas because it's after 8:30. But yeah, I need to be able to take them off at a moment's notice because I'll suddenly get too hot.
All right, Caroline is swinging. What do you think, Josh? Should we go right onto the trivia round or?
Yeah, let's do some trivia, Noah. I you sent it to me and I didn't even know. I thought you were just sending me like funny questions. I didn't realize that this was what you had prepared for the show. But let's do it.
No, I mean, I scoured the internet for some interesting news. Obviously, most news is COVID-19 related. Mm-hmm. Who would have thought? But that is the temperature of the world right now. So why fight it? But I think I found some interesting news items. I'm going to ask a question. These are headlines in the news. Mm-hmm. And you are going to choose the best or the right answer. I'm going to give you 3 answers. 2 of them are not real.
Do we count as one brain or
are we competing?
Are we competing?
Yeah, you're all competing.
Oh, wow, okay.
Josh included because he did. Actually, Josh, don't check your WhatsApp because actually, no, you don't have the answers anyways.
I was going to say, I don't have the answers.
Yeah, you don't have the answers.
He doesn't have the
You're
answers.
You're all competing. You can answer
right.
the same way. But as we know, we're all pretty much the whole world is in lockdown, and that can be that can lead to some interesting encounters with your neighbors. I don't know if you had some interesting encounters with your neighbors, but a man in New Hampshire this week was arrested because he threatened and chased one of his neighbors who asked him to turn down his music. What did he threaten his neighbor with? Okay, these are your three choices. What did he threaten his neighbor with? Was it A, a 76-centimeter sword? Was it B, a bag of rocks? Or was it C, a vinyl record?
Yeah. See, it's funny because like I thought this was going to be not multiple choice, and I was like, it would be coughing on him. Like that was my first thought. But it wasn't any of those.
Yeah, that would have been a little bit too much on the nose, I think. But that's not one of the options, unfortunately, Caroline.
So it was sword, vinyl. What was the one in the middle?
A bag of rocks.
A bag of rocks.
I feel like a 76-centimeter sword is super specific, but I also feel like Noah would have put that in there as a red herring.
I like the sword.
I know.
Then I just like swords.
I hope it's the sword.
Are you all going for sword?
I think it's a
Someone
bag
has
of
to
rocks.
not go with them.
I want it to be the sword.
I think
It really
wanted
could be any of them. Like none of them really jump out as being.
Yeah. I mean,
I was
would go with your gut instinct on this.
Like, because if you break a vinyl record, like you essentially have like a shiv, like in prison.
Such a hipster thing to threaten someone with, but actually a true hipster wouldn't, unless it was like the vinyl that he didn't care about.
I'm going to go with the record.
You're going for record? What do
I'm
what do
good.
the
I
rest of you?
see.
Well, I'm going sword.
I'm gonna go bag of rocks.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Caroline, you're right with the sword.
Oh,
No, I can't believe it was that obvious.
I don't know if you can
Yeah.
see back home, but I'm doing the balloon man dance.
I can confirm she is. That's right. This guy was arrested and arraigned, or is being arraigned next week. That is literally it for the news story. He chased down his neighbor because they asked him to turn his music down with a 76-centimeter sword.
That's
His
long. That's
neighbor
heavy.
is safe and uninjured. But that's
I'm
it.
really wondering how that transpired. Did he have the sword by the door, or was he like, "Oh, you want to turn the music down? Okay, 1 second," and then he just went somewhere to get his sword and started chasing him?
Maybe he was dancing with the
the-
sword, like it was a sort of Viking ritual of
Yeah,
some kind.
he already had it in his hands.
I feel like in New Hampshire, he's probably one of those people that has it like strapped to the back of the door.
Yeah. Live free or die, right?
Right. That's the
That is
motto.
the state motto of New Hampshire, in case you didn't know.
Cool.
Then they are going to get COVID.
Yeah, well, they are going to potentially die from this. All right, Bleak. Let's move on to the next one. This one's a little bit more, I think, lighthearted. An Italian priest. I think it was Tuesday. An Italian priest this Tuesday. He live streamed his sermon, but it went off the rails because. Why? Was it A, his frock came undone and revealed his SpongeBob SquarePants boxers? B, his camera's AR filters were on and causing him to appear as several different cartoons? Or was it C, he sneezed in the middle of his sermon?
Oh, well, we all, I think, read this,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
You read this?
Sorry
You
to
got this
spoil
already?
it. Yeah.
I know that. Yeah.
It's the filters.
He had his Instagram filters on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
funny, though. So, but I assume he wasn't, like, there wasn't comments or he wasn't looking at the comments because everyone should have been going mental in the comments.
Yeah,
I
know.
Like, praise Jesus, also, you're a donkey right now.
So what I understand is that it wasn't actually his Instagram that was putting the filters on. It was his phone's camera, like the native AR
Right,
on his
jeez.
phone.
Okay, so
Could be.
I wonder if priests use de-aging filters. Hey,
Hey.
come on now.
all right.
For
Open
the
mic.
folks at home who have not seen this yet, I highly encourage you. It is 20 seconds of pure bliss. An Italian priest giving his sermon with just like alternating cartoon filters.
It's probably made it the most watched sermon of all times.
Yes, absolutely.
Just like lots of people are converting to Catholicism now.
And apparently he was totally fine with it. In fact, he thought it was a good thing to happen. He didn't mean it to happen on purpose, but he was happy that there was
He did it for the likes. He
I
did
don't
it.
know.
He's such an Instagram whore.
I didn't know that the filters were on.
Oh no.
Is that your
Hashtag-
Italian accent?
All sermons now have to be like hashtag no filter.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. All right. So one more. This is the last round. Caroline's ahead with 2 points. The rest of you have 1 point. That middle one was that was a freebie. Everyone saw it. All right. This last one. As you know, the lockdown has kept everyone cooped up, and even athletes who are used to open spaces for exercises and training, they have to come up with some creative ways to stay fit. So in the city of Balma, France, an athlete named Alicia Makamovitz, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, decided that no lockdown would keep him from what? A, goaltending his fifth floor windows as neighbors tried to score on him with soccer balls across the courtyard.
That would be cool.
B, running a marathon on his balcony. Or C, skiing down his apartment staircase.
I hope it's A.
You hope it's A, goaltending his fifth
Yeah.
floor window? All right.
I think it's the marathon thing.
Oh, see, I
Running-
definitely think it's skiing.
Cool.
Are we go? Those are your final answers? Final answers.
What's the marathon one again? He's running his marathon in his apartment, or
On his balcony.
On his balcony? Yeah, marathon one, yeah.
Well, Josh, you are right.
Oh, come
That is
on,
correct.
Yeah.
Alicia Makamovitz ran a marathon for over 6 hours on his balcony. Like a 23-foot long balcony that he just ran.
I guess because I was imagining our balcony, which is under 2 meters in length.
Yeah, right.
It just is a ridiculous vision.
Well, there is a video of it, and you can see him just pacing back and forth at, like, not just a pace, but at a pretty, like, as fast as you can go on a balcony. And it's not a whole lot of space. He's doubling back every, like, 4 seconds or so.
You've got to take that into account, though, as well, haven't you? I mean, that's that sort of effort at the turn.
How did he keep track? Does he have a step counter? He had to have had a step counter.
Yeah, you must have at that point. Or you just do the math. It's 23 feet times.
I feel like that's more work than the actual running, is keeping track of how many.
Are they not letting people go outside then in France? Because we're allowed to run here, aren't we?
As far as I know, France is in like a complete lockdown.
Zut alors.
Yeah, we could easily fact check that, but I'm pretty sure they're in pretty dire straits over there.
I think there would be an honest to God revolution in this country if Germans were not allowed to go outside right now.
You would assume that the French would be the first ones to have a revolution, but
I know, but I feel like they're like, no, it's got to be for something more important. I'm doing a German accent again. I just can't do anything with a German accent.
Once you go German, you can't go French, like I found. And the other way around.
Okay, I've got it now. No, I don't have it.
About the onions and
yeah, that's
right.
it.
Gifted a Z.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's your trivia round. Congratulations. I think Josh and Caroline, you're tied. Antonia, you get best effort. Sorry.
Thank you.
Most improved. I used to always get most improved in tennis, and my mum was the coach. I have a lot of most improved trophies.
How could you always be most improved but never like actually good?
Because you never did as good as your mom.
Yeah, no, I never did good.
You started
but then
at
how
such
much
a low
could you have
level.
improved?
There's always room for improvement. There's always a little bit of improvement.
Yeah, and if you start so low that you can really just go up. That's really the only way.
I mean, no one's saying that I was starting really low. Like I could be starting in the middle and getting improved.
Yeah, but at that point, you would have to imagine that you're surpassing other people.
Yeah, I didn't.
Tennis is one of the few sports where it is so deceptive.
Tennis?
I don't know. Yeah, there's something about like watching tennis for the longest time. I was always like, oh, that doesn't seem like it's. I mean, like clearly a professional, they're playing at a certain level, but just the simple act of like volleying a ball back and forth, you're like, oh, that's not that hard. But when you then actually get on a tennis court and you're like, oh, this is almost impossible even to get the ball over there if you don't know what you're doing.
It's actually a pretty good.
Me.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, definitely there is super skill to it, but it's also a brilliant social distancing game. If you think about it. Same, like I saw people playing ping pong today and I was like, carry on.
Just don't touch the ball.
Yeah, just no doubles.
You can't touch the ball though. Or you have to wear latex gloves or something.
I was on public transport the other day, which is
not happy.
It feels very scary. But I was wearing a mask because Caroline ordered 2 like masks with like proper filters for us.
I've since found out that you're not supposed to buy those because they're supposed to go to hospitals.
Yeah, you too. Come on.
I didn't know.
What, do the hospitals buy them off Amazon?
These were like really hipster, trendy ones. But yeah, well, if they need them, then I'll take them down there or whatever.
It did shut down.
I was the only one with wearing a mask, but there were so many people wearing like latex gloves, and there was this woman who was just like holding her gloved hands like right up to her, like, covering her mouth, and just like I imagine like smelling her fingers, and I was like, what do you think the gloves do? It's not that you wear gloves.
I don't actually understand. I don't understand the gloves thing at all, actually, because if you're wearing them like they're second skin, then you're still putting still putting the germs in your mouth and your face, stuff like that.
No,
the gloves thing, I really don't understand.
You know what they should really design is not a mask that like protects your face. It's like a mask that like bites anything that comes close to it, so that it repels your fingers and anything else that comes close to it.
I think both of our cats have that automatically.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna dip my hands in like chili powder.
Yeah, so not
That's
only
going
do you get
straight in your eye.
corona, you get like a terrible indigestion and spicy mouth.
Yeah, that'll teach you.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of touching,
Go on.
worst segue, but I'm gonna stick with it. I'm sticking with it. We put together a sketch that we would like Caroline and Antonia to join us on. Okay, so here's a little sketch we put together.
Can I just say, it says Josh House Draft 3, toned down.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, there he is.
Yes, I apologize. I needed to restart my router.
Okay, well, now that everyone's here, let's get started. I know we've been looking forward to doing this in person, but clearly we can't do that anymore. So welcome all to the very first Mira and Mike's virtual fuck party.
Yay!
Yay!
All right.
Y'all should have gotten some ground rules. Let's make sure we follow them tonight, okay?
Actually, I noticed that Tanya and Thomas are on their own. This is technically supposed to be a couples party.
Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. So my partner Seamus couldn't be here because he's on a 30-day silent meditation retreat with Jared Leto. But I built myself a sex robot.
Oh, okay. How creative. Is that...
Yes, that is a Kelsey Grammer body pillow with a dildo.
How fun. Well, I guess we can just let that slide.
Yes, I also apologize for my solo appearance. My wife and I are in the middle of some marital difficulties owing to the extended time we are now together in our apartment. So she is watching the Tiger King on the Netflix in the living room, and I'm in the bedroom with all of you.
Okay.
But I have this loaf of Landbrot that I purchased at the bakery this morning. I have warmed it in the oven at 180 degrees centigrade and have carved out a hole on each end.
Okay, well...
Well, let's just get started.
Let's just get started. Everyone, turn your lights down low.
Just do what makes you feel comfortable. I'll turn on some music.
Hey, Tanya, would it be okay if I virtually go down on you while I actually go down on Kate?
Oh, hi, Kurt. Sure. I guess I'll pretend my Kelsey Grammer body pillow is you, if that's okay with you and Kate.
Sure.
Of course. Mike, how about you make virtual love to me while Kurt is actually going down on me?
Yeah, let's do it.
Kate, would it be acceptable for you if I also made virtual love to you while Kurt is actually going down on you and Mike is making virtual love to you?
Oh, well, I mean...
I don't want to break with the reality very much, but if we're going to be doing this virtually, we might as well take advantage of the medium.
What about Mirabel?
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm going to virtually fuck Kelsey Grammer.
I'm just not really into it. Sorry, Thomas.
It's okay. I will put on my VR goggles and have simulated sex with my World of Warcraft avatar using this Landbrot.
Mike, would you put this on?
Sure. What is it?
It's a mask of Kelsey Grammer's face I just printed out real quick.
Oh, I mean, can't you just pretend?
Oh, sure. You want me to pretend to come too?
Okay. Jeez. Is that better?
Oh, God, yes.
Can someone change the fucking music, please?
Yes!
Oh, yeah, fuck me, Kelsey. Yeah.
What the hell is that?
What?
It says we're live streaming.
Oh no. I can't see anything through this mask. I must have bumped into the keyboard and started streaming.
End the call! End the fucking call!
Right.
I think somehow you've got to like mix back in tossed salad and scrambled eggs, and it's like just echoed, somehow, just like all the sex noises like echoed. It'd be really funny.
I just realized we should do like just a minute of like sex sounds so that I can mix that in.
Great.
Can do.
Sorry, everybody. Look, this is what we do for our art.
Honestly, I feel like that's a great segment idea right there. And now it's time for 1 minute of sex noises.
All right, Noah, 1 minute of sex sounds, just you.
Oh, God.
I have to get into Mike's sex sounds.
I have to get erect.
Oh, wait, Noah, are you using the microphone into Zoom, Noah?
Yeah.
Really?
What do you mean?
What do you think he's holding a mic for?
No, but is that the one that's actually going into Zoom?
I didn't specify a mic.
Tap it.
But is it?
Tap it.
No, your headphone mic is the one that's going into Zoom. Oh, fuck me.
Oh, no.
That's going to be super fun.
It says it's the built-in microphone.
Yeah, but that's what you're wearing around your head.
Slash the one that's in your laptop.
What about this?
Then
It only sounds slightly better, to be honest. It's a bit more bassy.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, baby, I hear the blues.
Oh, well. Let's move on to the interview.
Let's do it. So earlier today, Noah and I had a conversation, a little interview with Philip Markle of Brooklyn Comedy Collective, who's been coming to Berlin for, years now, a long time ago, teaching workshops. He's a fantastic improviser and instructor, and formerly of the Annoyance Theater, and now has his own theater, the Brooklyn Comedy Collective in Brooklyn. And we got a chance to speak to him about what's happening over there.
Roll the tape.
All right, we're live. We're not live. We're recording. We're interviewing Philip Markle from the Brooklyn Comedy Collective.
How you doing?
Yeah.
How you doing, Philip?
It feels like a weird question to ask. There can't be a good answer, but how are you doing?
We're holding on. We're doing okay. I told Noah earlier that, we're doing a temperature check, right?
Yeah. What's your temperature?
Well, a week and a half ago, it was 103 degrees, baby, Fahrenheit. Don't know what that is.
That's hot.
It's
is that hot.
That's very hot.
So you had a fever. Uh-oh.
Maybe I had the corona. Who knows? I've been in quarantine for almost 2 weeks now, completely losing my fucking mind. But I feel great now.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I feel like we're recording this, so I should be very careful about what I'm saying. But from what I read, like within 3 to 5 days after symptoms go away, you can't infect other people anymore.
Yeah, it just happened to coincide with, all of New York being shut down, and my theater shut down, classes shut down, all in-person gatherings. So I've been zooming it up with people, sometimes switching apps just for the novelty of like FaceTime or Skype or just anything to Google hang myself to death, because that's where I'm at.
It does feel a little bit like Zoom is making out like gangbusters right now. I think they might be behind the whole corona thing.
You think that's a conspiracy theory?
Is it really? Is that widely spread right now?
No, just by you.
Yeah, you're the only one saying it. But I mean,
and the
honestly,
Chinese.
Yeah, right.
Not to make that was just a news story. I'm not trying to make a blanket statement, but the Chinese media is saying that this was planted by the U.S. government.
Oh, well, and the U.S. government is saying it was the Chinese, so it's just tit for tat now.
Yeah, everybody's saying somebody invented this virus and destroyed the world. I don't know. I think it came from animals, so let's just leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, I guess that the bottom line is now, Philip, you are in New York City. You are like in the hotbed, the hot zone of the whole thing. What's it like right now?
I mean, I live in Brooklyn, so I feel like a lot of people, live in Brooklyn. And so there are still people walking around with face masks, keeping distance from each other. I have to walk my dog, but just, nobody touches each other. And grocery stores are still open. But my friend lives in Manhattan, right next to Broadway, and he sent me video of his walks. And oh my God, it's just a ghost town. It's very creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, the crazy thing, I've seen photos of Times Square. It's just a ghost town, but the lights are all still on. The screens are still on.
Yeah, I guess contractually they can't turn the lights off.
Yeah, right. Maybe it's like an airplane. They need to keep the lights on in order for them to keep working.
I guarantee you they never even considered building an off switch.
They never considered it, because this has never happened. They've never, even in previous, Broadway's never shut down. So this is a new world for all of us that do live events. Pretty much every single person I know is in some way deeply impacted by this, and we're all scrambling to find ways to make content digitally that is watchable and enjoyable.
Right. Yeah, so let's get into that a little bit. I mean, you're probably in a very similar situation to us with our theater. Your theater is dark, and classes are off. So, what can you walk us through, even just briefly, like what's going on with BCC?
So, I'll start with shows. So, when this all started going haywire, I started looking for a way for us to live stream our shows in a way where, part of the BCC's big, central mission since beginning was trying to pay producers and artists for their work. And everyone else, was just live streaming on Instagram. And so I recently, just as of yesterday, we signed a contract with this live streaming app called TV Co, in which every night at 9 Eastern Standard Time, I have no idea what time that is in Germany. Well, probably 2 a.m.?
No, 2 a.m. exactly. Yeah,
not for long. Perfect, because you guys are all clubbing then normally, so now you can watch some comedy,
right?
And the app is TVCo is paying all of our producers a stipend for their work, so people are being paid to produce a show. We can have up to 6 performers in a live wirecast. And then they have a producer that sort of drags, one viewer on, one performer on screen, or 2 performers, or up to 4 performers at a time, doing bits with one another. And we launched last night. There were 110 viewers. Our comedy theater can only seat, 100 max. So that was pretty cool. And the performers are getting paid. And we're just trying to transition people to go to TVCo, download the app, and support the project.
And cool. Do people pay to? Yeah, that's great. Do people pay to view, or how does that?
View.
Okay,
it's free to view on TVCo, and you can tip the artists in app.
Oh yeah.
So, and 100% of the tips go directly to the performers.
Wow, that's great. That's a cool solution.
This is called TVCo. TVCO,
and it's an app in the App Store and Google Play, and they have a lot of other content. We're the comedy show that's now every night at 9 Eastern Standard Time.
Very interesting. Cool.
Good for you.
And you said you debuted last night. How did it feel? I mean, obviously there is a fundamental qualitative difference than doing it live in front of people in the same room. But I mean, I don't know if you were performing, but how was that experience?
So the performers were just focused on doing their act as they were each wirecast in. I was on the app under the Comedy Brooklyn account, and I was responding to comments and sort of, making additional jokes based on whatever was happening or getting people to interact. And there were actually cool moments where one of the performers was talking about his moan. He was in a character and he loves to moan. And then everybody in the app just started demanding that he moan. And so the producer noticed this and was like, hold the bit. You have to moan. We want to hear your sexy moan. And it was a really fun, whereas that would have been heckling in a live show. It was kind of fun because the performers can choose when to respond to the comments, or they can ask questions. So there's an interactive element that was actually pretty playful and improvisational and fun. And then the best thing we found was just people coming in with a really solid bit. Jill Sermonti performed. She gave sex advice during the coronavirus era based on the actual ridiculous guidelines that New York City actually put out about how to fuck on corona.
Oh, no, really? What were their guidelines?
Oh, just make sure if don't rim assholes. That's really, it. Okay. Masturbation is key. It was all over Twitter, and Jill did a really funny bit, and she had cue cards behind her. We're having another show. Mary Houlihan tonight is doing something with a PowerPoint behind her that she's going to be controlling, that she's live streaming to her TV, or airplaying to her TV. Yeah. So visual elements are really fun. There were some technical kinks last night, but performers, because we're all improvisers, we just rolled with it.
Yeah, that's great.
This is kind of forcing us to think in ways that we haven't really trained ourselves to think in. And I think we're probably going to come out with a whole new style of improv that can only be beneficial, having to push ourselves to be more clear and patient and accepting, because we have to do this through a medium that is not really immediate. You know what I mean? And so I only feel like if people are pushing themselves through that to learn how to deal with it, it can only translate to better improv once we're able to do it on stage again.
Yeah, we did an improv jam yesterday just to try it out, and it is interesting because you do have to listen better, because if people talk over one another whatsoever, it's completely, there's no way to like it just kills the moment. So you naturally have to be more patient, listen, like call and response. It's good for that. We also had some really fun object work and proximity work. Like there was one person that like literally pulled up a tea thing and like poured it, and somebody else picked it up in the frame. You can do a lot of fun proximity work in this.
This is what we've learned too. I mean, we had a Herald show, a virtual Herald night show last week. And I mean, actually, to your point of, our live stream didn't end up working, but we put the recording online later, and, it's gotten quite a lot of views. And I think the interesting thing for me is like twofold, because we're now forced to be digital. We had a couple of players that are stuck in the States that have actually been in LA for a bit, and they haven't been able to perform at the theater. And all of a sudden now they can actually perform together with us, because we're all basically in the same boat, whether we're in Berlin or LA or New York. All of a sudden we're now able to perform with people that we couldn't 3 weeks ago. And also our audience, I mean, the time difference aside, the more people are actually able to join in than could fit in our theater. The experience is clearly different, but it is an interesting new kind of avenue that we're exploring, and being able to do this stuff with the cameras where all of a sudden there's something like an actual object appearing is make the most of it.
I think that everyone is being very open and understanding that this is new terrain for everyone. Like I've seen a ton of patience and warmth from everyone, and support, whether it was, people Venmoing theaters in need, or just, being open to any glitches that happen. Like we're in a new world. I'll share one fun thing that we discovered in our improv jam. I'm curious because I'm such an audiophile nut of like, I just want to make sure that it's as controlled as possible. We basically mute everyone that isn't in the scene, but if they want to laugh, they go like this with their hands. They do jazz hands. And so you can see laughs. It's just, that was a discovery we had yesterday.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea.
Well, there's a weird, because I've taught a lot of I teach a group scene work class that is literally about this, about how visually humans, I think, can almost respond to almost an infinite number of things without being overwhelmed, like in a scene, imagining in a theater. But audio, two people cannot talk over one another, or we just instantly fritz. It's really interesting.
Yep.
Visually, you can kind of have as much fun as you want, but audio, it has to be controlled.
Yep. Yeah. It's one of the first things they teach you. I went to film school, and one of the first things they teach you in film school is the audio is arguably most important. Like you can have clearly it's not going to be that enjoyable to watch, but something with bad audio recording is almost impossible to watch. Whereas something that's not shot terribly well, but the audio sounds okay, you'll be able to sit through it.
Yeah. So audio is king in 2020 coronavirus era.
You heard it here first. Philip Markle's hot take.
I have a question for you, because my family has been in quarantine now. Actually, we're just out of it. Today's our first day not in quarantine.
Oh.
And yeah, thank you. For those of you just listening, I got hands shaken at me.
Yeah. Jazz hands.
Jazz hands. So what's it been like for you? Do you live by yourself? I mean, what's quarantine been like?
I have a roommate named Teddy. He's been very cool. We had to keep distance at first, but when I stopped showing symptoms, we've just been cohabitating with my dog, who's loving the quarantine. She's getting all this fucking attention. Cannot. And, but yeah, I think that we are just, look, what this goes to show is that what we're all trying to do with our livelihoods as live artists, it's become more clear to me, not being able to party with friends, not being able to touch other friends, like dancing, just the social aspect of life. It is so important. And we're looking at potentially months of this, no matter what President Dump says about Easter Sunday, everyone going back to mass. Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
It's really starving something. And so I'm on a friend group, and we've been talking about that and the need for social intimacy across video mediums, because we're just social creatures. We're not meant to be in isolation.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And if there's anything, it definitely makes you reevaluate what's important, certainly after this whole thing gets over and done with. I'm going traveling is what I'm saying.
Well, good.
And it's not fair that some of us have girlfriends or wives, Noah, and you have all the intimacy you ever needed, though you're probably driving each other up the wall. But, like, what's a single gay to do?
Well, I will speak for myself. I mean, having 2 kids at home, literally stuck inside at home in an apartment for 2 weeks, a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, has been a fucking nightmare. So I don't recommend that. Consider yourself lucky you only have the dog right now.
And she has to do what I say.
Philip, is there any last words? I mean, not last words, but last words for
Jesus
your interview.
Christ, that's
God save the queen. I don't know. Like, Prince Charles got sick now. Yeah, like I said before, I can't wait. We're going to have such a rager when this is all over and we can safely gather again. People are going to be so happy. I'll probably fly to Berlin just to club for 3 days straight. I mean, I can't wait. In the meantime, I think this is both a great time to work on personal projects. Like, I've been getting around to some writing stuff that I had been just naturally putting off, and I'm happy that I'm getting back to it. It's also, if you're just not in that mode, a lot of people have been telling me that this is an okay time to just rest and recharge and not check the news constantly.
Yeah.
And it's okay. This is a worldwide crisis that we have literally never dealt before. And the hardest thing and the best thing is to be kind to yourself, whether that's being productive in this time or whether it's just, watching Westworld. So,
yeah.
Good.
Absolutely.
I love that. That's great.
Here. That was Philip Markle. Thanks so much, from the Brooklyn Comedy Collective. Where can we find you if we want to find you outside of TVCO?
Yeah, so Brooklyn, we're at Comedy Brooklyn on all the socials, and then I'm at Philip Sparkle on all the socials. And yeah, I'll probably be posting some fun content. Right now I'm focused on the TV code thing and getting the online classes going, and then, yeah, who knows?
Cool.
And
Excellent.
Thank you guys both for a great interview. I hope you guys stay sane.
Likewise.
We're working on it.
Thanks, Philip.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Now we're doing some improv. What do you mean there's no off button?
Yeah, there's no off button.
We got to shut these screens down. It's taking away too much energy. We got to.
This is Broadway. There's no off switch to Broadway.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about it's like a metaphor for like turning off like the stage and stuff, sending the
it's not
actor.
A metaphor.
No, I'm talking about the screens on Times Square. Like they're blaring right now to nobody. There's nobody to look at them.
You can't switch off New York. That's
no, I get the saying, New York never sleeps, that kind of thing. But like,
yeah, exactly.
There's
you keep using words like metaphor and saying. I don't think you understand. New York never sleeps. There's no off switch.
Yeah, but like the screen, I'm talking about the physical screen that was probably built like by Samsung or something. They must have like, if there's no like actual switch, because they're not used to actually switching it off. But like now that nobody's looking at them, that maybe we can like find the cord that it's plugged.
Hey, Mayor Bloomberg.
Yeah,
I found a great big switch down in a cave. I went down an elevator into a cave, and I found a huge rusty switch.
Okay, let me make this clear. If anyone uses the New York off switch, New York dies.
But we got like 4 or 5 guys down there. They're oiling it up right now.
Yeah, hi. This is Mayor Bill de Blasio. I don't know why you're speaking to Mike Bloomberg right now. He hasn't been mayor.
Bill, I got this, Bill.
Look, just because you're a billionaire doesn't mean you still get to... Fine, I'm going back in my room.
Look, all I know is all of the cave people, all of the people that work in the caves underneath New York and in the sewers, Bloomberg is our mayor and always will be as long as he walks the earth.
I hate you guys.
I don't know who this guy is. Who's this joke? Get out of here.
It's just, it's fine. It's, one of these modern things where it's like, oh, you can't be mayor forever just because you're a billionaire. Anyway, we're not switching New York off. Okay, that's the whole point of this.
Hey guys, can we press the button yet? Can we press the button?
Yeah, I don't know. I went up to Mayor Bloomberg, who is the actual mayor and who will always be our mayor, and he says, no, we can't turn it off. I mean, we already turned Broadway off, but he can't still can't turn off New York City.
So, what if I was to tell you that, maybe by accident the switch hit itself, you know?
Oh, if you had a little accident.
Yeah, like, whoops, you know, it decided to turn itself off, you know?
Yeah. Shit, you should do that. Oh!
Uh-oh.
Hey, where'd all the lights go?
Hey, I was watching that.
Oh, great. Now we're stuck at home, and it's boring, too.
All right. Well, thanks to Caroline Clifford and Antonia Bär for joining us.
You're
Cliff
very
and Tony, I guess we could say we can be familiar with you, right?
Yes, you may use the. So when it's not
great.
familiar.
Tony, where can we find you if we would like to find you on the social medias?
Oh, I was going to make a joke and say in my apartment. You can find me at Antonia Lisa Bär. That's Bär Baer on Instagram and Twitter.
Cool. And what about you, Cliffy?
Just Google my name, Caroline Clifford, and I have a small webpage with the links all over the internet.
That helps.
Well, thanks so much for joining us for our inaugural episode.
Pleasure.
Our very
Thanks so much for
pilot
having
episode.
us.
Sure.
And that's our show. Thanks so much for listening, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. Our very quickly thrown together, almost experimental first episode. It's only going to get better from here, folks. We've got a lot of amazing stuff in store. And we do hope you keep listening. We want to do just a little bit of promo before we close this off because we're doing a lot of really amazing stuff online. So, Noah, take it away.
All right, here we go. The CCB Training School, which is the school that we run, is offering a special online-only 4-week improv class focusing on scene work. That's classes. There's 3 different classes you can
There's
sign
3
up
of them.
for. We've got courses for absolute beginners through advanced players, so sign up.
We've actually also got our Intro to Sketch, our standard Intro to Sketch 8-week writing course is also online. So all those courses start this week, if you're listening when this comes out. They're starting the week of March 27th. That's a Saturday. Anyway, just check it out. You can find out more. Sign up at training.comedycafeberlin.com under online courses.
We are also going to live stream shows every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday during the lockdown. So check out comedycafeberlin.com or go to our Facebook page for all the info on that.
Right, or our YouTube channel. That's where we'll be live streaming that stuff.
Don't forget the YouTubes.
And I guess we can't really end a podcast without like that typical plea for support. Like, please help us. So we're just going to do it too. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and tell your friends about the show. You can like and follow and stalk Comedy Cafe Berlin online on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Instagram, and of course our very own website.
If you love live comedy and you'd like to help our theater during our closure, that's the way to do it. You can donate to us, purchase a gift certificate, or get some real nice merch online at comedycafeberlin.com. Your support is so needed right now, and everyone who has already supported, thank you a million times.
Yeah, thank you so much. And actually, on the note of thank yous, we have to thank our guests. Thanks so much to Antonia Bär, Caroline Clifford, and all the way from Brooklyn, Philip Markle of the Brooklyn Comedy Collective.
Right. And Jakob Wagner for the theme music. He put that together in record time. And finally, to Exberliner for their additional support and promotion on this whole thing. The reason why we're putting this together so fast is very much due to them. So thanks one more time to Exberliner.
And thank you so much to all of you. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Temperature check, icy cold. Temperature check, searing hot. temperature check. Listen to the temperature check. Ice cold, temperature check. Searing hot, temperature check. Listen to the temperature check.